Hello friends, you're welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning this channel today. Today I will be doing the continuation of this shirt, how to sew a long sleeve female shirt. So if you have not watched the part 1 of this tutorial, please make sure you watch the part 1. It's on my channel. Then you come back to watch the part 2 so that you will understand all of this process. I have my thread here with me, then my hemming gum, I have my button, and I have what we call a cloth gum. It's not the Herstel. This one is thicker than Herstel and it's also expensive than Herstel. The length comes by 45, while Herstel length is by 60. I have my collar gum here with me. So these are the things that will help us to achieve this beautiful shape you're seeing on the screen. I will keep it aside. Now this is the back panel of my shirt. If you watch closely, I just close the allowance at the back, the 1 inch allowance I see now, and I iron it. So if I turn it to the back, you see that the joining is showing at the back. This is the process to achieve the beautiful shape at the back. Now I move to my front. The front, see what I have here? Are you seeing now? I use the cloth gum to gum on the button plackets. Are you seeing now? Now you have to calculate the allowance on your button placket, both the button allowance and the folding extension. You have to calculate it in a way that when you fold this placket like this, the Herstel won't be showing on your dress again. The hemming is going to cover the Herstel like this, I see now, to make it neat. So all of that bring me to the point where I have to mark, see the folding allowance and the button overlap. So I mark, this is the 2.5, I marked like this, and I also open it and calculate what I will fold in. This part now is just like a 1/4 inch. I fold it in like this and I lap it this way. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So see my notch here, the part that I will fold and the part that is for button plackets. So I first of all fold the 1/4 inch like this and I fold it again. This one here is 1/4. I fold it again to lap so that the Herstel will be covered. And before I run thread on top, I'm going to use my hemming gum. This is where the hemming gum comes in. If you watch this one, I've already used the hemming gum to hold it. After gumming it like this, I use the hemming gum to close it, so it's very neat now. Before I will take it to the machine and run thread to catch it very well. So I'm going to use my hemming gum like this. Open this part and place it inside to iron it close so that when I go to the machine, it will be easy for me and neat to run thread on top. So you keep going like this. So you turn it to the front again. Turn it to the front and iron it. So see what I have now, front. See what I have now at the back is very neat. This is the front. So what I will do now, I will go to machine and run thread like this, run thread this other side. I will bring my back in now and join the shoulder after running thread. This is very simple. We have a lot to do on this shirt. So I'm going to run thread on the shoulder and come back to show you what's next. So I've finished joining the shoulder and the placket is folded, the button extension. So I fall in my back to the front to get that 1 inch allowance. See the joining of the shoulder, but I went ahead to fold the back this way and I measure the 1 inch to make sure the back supply me the 1 inch that I removed from the front. So I had to use my iron to iron that 1 inch line. I iron the shoulder, both of them. So when you finish ironing the shoulder, make sure you use pin to secure it everywhere. The button allowance, just place the right on top of the left. As a female shirt, the right is to cover the left, so this is my right. So I'll place it on top of the left and I will pin it till down to check if they are equal with the down parts I see now. So I'll go ahead and pin the shoulder. Then I will turn it to the back like this. Before you transfer your pattern to fabric, make sure you iron your fabric. Now the down part of it, you check the center of the back and pin it together with the center of the front, like so. Now if you watch closely, you see that I have some excess by the side. The front is bigger than the back. It's because of the zipper bulge that we took away from the back. That is why the front is bigger than the back. So it's okay. Now that I've pinned it and see, so time to sew it, make sure you hold it equal, the two sides equal, and sew. That way your shirt will balance at the back. Now we'll turn it back to the front. At this point, I'm going to check the shoulder of this shirt. So the shoulder of this shirt is 18 inches plus seam allowance of 1 inch, half inch this way, half inch this way. That is 19 inches. But what I have here is 19 3/4. So I'm going to fold the two shoulder in like this. See the armhole shape is not really showing like that again because of the fabric is bouncing. That is why in some cases I like to join the shoulder before I shape my armhole, more especially front armhole. So I'm going to trim my armhole again. So 3/4 divided by 2. I don't know how to call that, but my tape is helping me to calculate that. We have all the lines on the tape. So I'm going to take it out now. So my armhole will now be like this. Now open it again and check to be sure that my, yes, it's okay. At this point, I can now take away the armhole shape in front. I'll just use my scissors to cut this time around I'm using half inch, exact half inch. I will notch the shoulder, this part now with the shoulder, not the joining. Then I will trim this part again with the same half inch. So this part is the shoulder now, I will notch. So you can see the shape of the front. Now that I'm sure that every part is equal, I'll leave it open like this. And I will work with my collar now first. So you hold it like this and measure the neck line. What I have here is 19 inches. Okay, 19 1/4 of an inch is okay for my size. I told you from beginning I don't want it to be too small. So for slim person, if you use that 2.5 meters that I talked about, that means you will not have up to 19 inches. So the 19 inches is with both button allowance. All together is 19 inches. So we'll go ahead and cut our collar now first. How to cut and sew a shirt collar. This is my collar gum. We call it collar gum, the strong stay. Some fold now like this. And the width of this collar gum I'm using here is 5 inches. While the length, you have to cut the neck measurements and add seam allowance. Just add allowance to draft. So that is exactly what I have here now. You see my line? This will be my starting point for you guys to see. So I measure the shirt neck is 19 1/4 of an inch, but I'm using 19 here. Now your collar gum, just use iron to press it down like this, but the collar gum has a gum, this part, the back side has a gum on it. So don't press it too much, don't allow it to gum, but just for it to stay at a place. So you smooth it like this. See what I have now, it's not gum, but it's steady. Now the neck is 19.25 of an inch, but I will be using 19 inches to draft this collar, because sometimes when you iron it, you find out that the collar gum has expanded a bit, or when you finish sewing. So somehow I'm going to have that 1/4 of an inch on it when I finish turning my collar. So 19 inches divided by 2 give me 9.5. So I mark my 9.5 this way, I mark again 9.5 this way, and I rule like this. So this is the line you're seeing. Now this 9.5, I'm going to divide it by 2 like this to get the midpoint. So this is my midpoint now. So at the midpoint, I will go in by 1/2 inch like this, 1/2 inch. Remember that this part is open, this is the folded part. So I will come to the folded part, I will go in by 3/4 of an inch like this, and I'm going to blend this together like so. I see now, I'll blend it together like this. Then the open part, I will go in by 1/4. If you check your tape very well, if you know your tape, when you find 1/4, then you divide by 2. So I'm going to blend this 1/4 like this a bit, just to slant this edge. So this one now is to come like this. So this is the shape of my collar. Now I will take 1 inch of my small collar. We have small one and big one, so let's call this one small one. So I will blend it like this. This is my 1 inch collar. Then I will come to the edge again. I will mark 1 inch. That is, I will go in by 1 inch. Then I will rule my line like this. So at this 1 inch now, I can now mark the second collar. That is the big one. I would like to use 2 inches on this one. I would like to use 2 inches here at the edge. Then the folded part, I will use 1.5 inch. I want the collar to be small, so I'm going to blend it like this. Like so. Then this part, you don't leave it straight. Let me turn it this way now. This is the part to attach to the shirt. So I'm going to slant this part like this. I see the shape. Now don't touch this edge, because this is the measurement of the neck. Don't allow your curve to get to this part. So I will slant it like this. So this is the shape of my collar. I'm going to cut it out. I'll just follow the curve like this. This way to fix it back in here, so that I won't forget. I won't forget this part. Then I will now notch that part that is curved. I will go ahead and notch it like this, very important, so that I will know that this part and this big part are to join together like this. Before I will go ahead and cut this one out. I'm cutting it straight. Then I will quickly notch this part also, for me to know that this and this are coming together. If you don't do this, you will have a problem when you finish ironing it. The collar will confuse you, so you have to notch it like this. And I will bring my fabric now. So see what I have now. I place my collar gum on my fabric, and I just gum it, and I create a space of 1/2 inch each of the line round like this, 1/2 inch like this, and I cut 2 pieces of it, the small one, 2 pieces. So you see now, this one the collar gum is on it, this one will serve as a lining. There is no gum on this one. I also cut the big one, the one I call big one. I create a space 1/2 inch around my collar, because you're not to sew on top of the collar. If you sew on top of the collar, it will be difficult to turn it. So this 1/2 inch is for seam allowance. That is why I didn't have any seam allowance on the collar while I was cutting it. So I cut 2 pieces of it. This one, there is no gum on it. So I'm going to mark the center of my collar like this. I'll go both of them like so of it. I will notch both up and down the center. By the small one, I'm going to notch only the upper part. The part that is curved, that is the part I'm to notch the center of it. So I'll go both of them like this. I'll make sure they are equal. Then I will notch the center of both of them like this. So I'll pick the small one like this. I'll keep the lining aside. So this part that is not curved, I'll leave the part that is curved. This part that is straight now, I'm going to iron this part like this. With my iron, just iron the allowance in like so. So that when to sew it will be easy for you. So you see that it's well relaxed now. I can now go to machine and sew my collar now. So I will first of all sew the big one. But the big one, check the part that we notch on the collar. This part that we notch, that is to face the small one together. Leave that part that we notch. So I will just sew this part now. This will be the back. So I'm going to sew from this edge now, like this. And cross it this way. Let me do it for you to see. I'll turn it this way now. I'm just using my seam allowance to sew it. So I will notch this edge like this, and notch this edge like so. I can now turn it to the front. So at this point, you can top stitch on top of the collar. So run thread very tiny. No, we have already notched the center. So at this point, I'll pick the small one like this. This straight part that is folded, you leave that part first. And pick this part that is notched. So when you place it like this, know that this part that has a gum will be the front, while this one is the lining. Now on this big one also, the part that has a collar gum will be the front. So the front are to kiss each other like this. Are you seeing now? You place it like so. Let front kiss front. Then you pick this one to the part that is notched, the center, and you place it. The back also front kissing front. So at this point, you can use your pin to hold it, and you turn it this way. So see what I have. I just turn it to the back like this, so that we'll be seeing the collar gum and know my seam allowance to follow. So I'll just follow my seam allowance like this, and so. When you get to this point, you see the 1 inch extra. You have to follow the curve like this. And curve your hand like this. To see what I have. Are you seeing now? The way I curved it. And this allowance is here. The lining allowance is here. So just follow this part that is folded and curve your hand like this. So I haven't done this now. I will turn it to this side. I'm going to hold both of them like this. And make sure I follow this line also that is curved. At this point you have to check if they are equal. Make sure you're sewing on top of the lining of the collar, the big collar, the small collar. You're catching 4 pieces together like this. 4 pieces together. So if you have excess allowance, you can trim small out from it. Then you turn it out like this. You see the beauty of the collar is coming out. Wow. So I will go and iron it now. So I finished ironing my collar now. I'll bring the shirt like this. Already the back has a joining, so that joining is the center of the back. So I will pick my collar. This collar has front and back. The part that has gum is the front. So when you wear your shirt, this is how your collar should be. You're going to fold it like this. So when you fold it this way, this is the front now that people will be seeing. This part now will be the back. So I'm going to pick that back, the back side. I will notch the center of it like so. So I will pick the back and place it here at the center of the back. But this time around, this is the front, while the collar, this is the back. They are facing each other like this. So I'm going to sew from the center. I will open it like this and sew with this one now. The 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I will hold the neck, the back of the collar, and I will sew it together. As I'm sewing, I'm checking it. If you have any issue that your collar is smaller than the neck, maybe like 1/4 inch, you can hold the shirt from the joining and the upper part, or you adjust it from the shoulder. Your shirt is still going to be fine. You don't need to worry about those little things. So make sure you hold both of them like this. So see what I have. I see now this part is open. So if I fold it, I will have something like this. Now I'm going to run this part also, the second side of it. I can start this one from this line now, the center front. Let me start from the center front. Make sure you're checking the shirt and the collar to be sure they are equal. So I can now turn it now to the back. See the back of the shirt now. This is the front of the shirt. Because for collar, they show more on the back of the shirt when you wear it. So I'll bring it to the machine. This is the center back. I will cover the seam allowance like this. I'm going to cover it like this. Then I will start from the center back of stitch. This is the reason why we use iron to fold this seam allowance here in. The seam allowance on the small collar. So I'm going to continue like this. Make sure you cover your seam allowance very well. You can use your scissors to push this part in like this to make sure it snaps. Then you turn it this way and follow the shape of your collar like this. You can stitch it. This part is still open. So you run thread on top like this. And when you're running the thread, also check this part. Make sure they are equal. Okay. Then you follow the shape of your collar like that, the curved part. Turn it again. You can now cover this part properly. When you get to the center back, you join your thread and cross stitch on it. So this is the process of making collar. We are done with our collar. See how beautiful the collar is. Let me iron it again. So we are done with our collar. How to prepare the cufflink extension. You remember that we cut out something like this while we are cutting the shirt. The 3 inches that we minus from the sleeve. So I just use this one now to repeat it again to cut 2 pieces like this. This is 2 pieces of it, one for this sleeve, one for the other sleeve. Why this is my pattern, so we will keep the pattern aside. I'll pick my collar gum like this and I will place it on top of my fabric and iron it. I'm going to cut out 2 pieces of it. Then the strap that I cut, I will tear it into 2 like this. One for one sleeve, one for the other sleeve. The small strap, I'm going to cut it into 2 also. So I cut out a collar gum to use for the cufflink plackets by the side, the slit that we open. To use it on this part that we open, the sleeve that is open. So the length of this placket here is 6.5 inches. Are you seeing? Why the width is 3/4 of an inch. Don't allow it to get to 1 inch. After cutting it, the edge like this, I just give it a V shape like this with my scissors. Are you seeing now? See the shape? Are you seeing the shape? So how to work the cufflink extension? I'll keep the one that will serve as lining aside. Then see the front. I got my collar gum on it and I create a 1/2 inch seam allowance around my stele. The same thing applied to this one. Now I've already worked on this part, so let me use this one to show you. You cut your hemming gum the length of this and you can divide the width into 3. Just divide the width into 3 like this, so that it will not be too wide. Then you use one part of it. Pick one like this to fold this 1/2 inch. This part now I'm using hemming gum on it, will serve as the front. So you hem the 1/2 inch allowance like this, and you use your iron, you use your hemming gum, to hold it, to make it stay at a place. This way you have a neat sewing. Or you can also do without the hemming gum. Make sure you fold the allowance on top of the stair and iron it. So I'm through with this part. With the lining, I'll keep it aside. Then the cufflink plackets. So I just gummed this one at the center. The cufflink plackets, I gum it at the center, the 6.5 inch stair that I cut. Now I will hold both of them like this, front kissing front. I see now. You have to do it like this so that they will rhyme with each other. You can choose any part. You can cut from this part, you can cut from this part. But the most important thing that the front must kiss front. So I will trim one side allowance. I will just leave 1/2 inch seam allowance. And this part, you leave it like this. Don't trim anything. Leave it as it is. After gumming your gum at the center, then I will come to this down part now. So at that V shape is where I'm going to cut this slit now. I'm going to tear it open straight, close to it. So see what I have now. Are you seeing now? Now when you cut it open like this, you have to know that this is the small side and this is the big side. Let's put it like that. So at this small side now, I'm going to fold it this way in. This is just to get the shape of the collar gum. Then I will iron it like this. If you think the allowance is too much, after bending it this way, you can trim some of the allowance off. You can also use small hemming gum to hold it, to make it stay at a place. Now this is the big side. I will also fold this big side in, just to get that V shape on the collar gum. Trim some of the allowance off and use the hemming gum to hold it. Now you leave this small side, the length like this, and come to this big part now. Fold it this way and use your hemming gum to catch it, put it under and iron it on top to make it stay at a place. Okay, so if you look at it now, I've gotten the shape. Once you fold this part in, the V shape is showing. Are you seeing now? So this part now, you leave it for sewing. You don't fold it now. I will keep this one aside and apply the same thing to this one. Then the cufflink plackets, the small one, the cufflink plackets, I've already hemmed this part. Just hem one side alone. You can use your hemming gum also. So I'm going to hem the second one. Just 1/4 inch. Use your iron to hold it and your hemming gum also. So see what I have now. I will now take all of this and go to machine to work on it. So before I sew it, I'll hold the line like this and just give a notch like a V shape at that 4 inches that I cut. And just give a notch, I say now, so that when I sew it, it will balance, it will not rumple. So this is the small side. I'll pick the strap for the small side like this. I'll place it like so. So I'm going to turn it this way now. So I'm sewing it from the back. This is the back of my sleeve. This is the front. I'll sew from the back and turn it to the front. When you finish sewing it, you can also notch it. Don't cut your thread. The way we notch the neck of dress, just notch at that edge there. Then you can now turn it to the front and top stitch. This is the reason why we use hemming gum to knit the edge. So you just turn it to the front like this and top stitch on top. Now we can flip it to the front like so. When you get to this part, you stop. Then you move to the back side again. You come to the big side. Now you bring the placket like this, the complete placket, the big one, the one with the spare. Just check the part that will rhyme with this one. I see now. Because this V shape is to be at the upper part, not the down part. So you place it like this. The half-inch allowance, just follow that line and sew it. Make sure you don't sew on top of the gum. Now we also roll it like this and give it a notch, so that when you turn it to the front, it will balance. You can now turn it to the front. I see now. Now when you turn it to the front, the small one, you can now cut the excess like this. Just make sure that the big one is longer than the small one. And then you bring it to your machine. Hold it like this. I see now. Bring this part now to climb on top of this and check the down. Make sure they are equal as you're setting it. You can use your pin to hold it to climb on top of the small one like this. Then from that point, this part is to be open. So from this point, you can now top stitch it. I see now. Make sure you balance it well, and you top stitch on top. You follow the shape of the V, and you sew it like this. You point your needle, you turn it again to get the V shape at the edge of the collar gun. Then you can now turn it this way and go like this. When you come to this point, the starting point, you can cross your thread like this now. You patch it well. Then you come back again, top stitch it again, like so. Then you continue. At this point, you can push this one away and focus on this part alone. We have different way of doing it, but this is one of the easiest way. So see what we have now. The placket is set, see the back. So at this point, I can now pleat the sleeve so that you can move your hand freely. This is what this pleat does for us. So you bring your pleat, you can decide to bring it close to the cufflink placket immediately after the cufflink placket, or you can decide to shift a bit from it. Your sleeve will still be fine. If you're using a two pleat, then you just pleat one like this and pleat the second one. That is if you added the allowance while cutting the sleeve. You understand me? So mine is 1 inch allowance, and that 1 inch allowance was on fold. So now I'm going to make use of 1 inch here and leave the other 1 inch that will help me size this cufflink extension for button. So 1 inch, I will fold ½ inch in, ½ inch on top. You know the way we pleat now, just ½ inch in, ½ inch on top. Yes, like this. Then I will top stitch it. So when you're cutting your sleeve, you have to put all of this into consideration. If you're using my own pattern, the way I cut this one, you should know that the pleat is ½ inch, like this. Okay, I'll keep it aside and work with the cufflink extension, the cuff. This is the one that has gum, so I will pick this one like this and place on top, turn it back. Now I will just follow my seam allowance. I'll start from the upper part like this. turn it this way. I'll turn it this way again. Now if you look closely, you see that the upper part, the one that will serve as lining, the seam allowance is here. So I can now notch the edge like this, and notch this edge like so, and turn it to the front, push it out. Now I can now close my sleeve. You know, the rigged round sleeve was 8 inches, but because of this extension now, this is 9.5 inches. So I'll be using 9.5 inches. So I'm going to check like this. This is 9 inches. So I will sew it like this. When I get to this point, I will pause. Turn it to the front and use my tape to measure it to be sure I have the 9.5. This is more than 9.5. I can pinch a little from it. So when you check that the allowance is okay now, it will size this extension. So you pick the extension like this. So you pick it like this. This is the front, and this is the front of the extension. Now I'm going to sew from this back, the lining, the one that serves as lining. You can now turn it to the lining back like this. That is turning to the back. I see now. Catch it like so. When you get to the round sleeve allowance, you open it. At this point, you can even iron the round sleeve allowance. Then as you're sewing, you keep checking this one to make sure it's equal with the extension. So at this point, when you turn it to the front, you push the allowance inside like this. Are you seeing now? Push it inside and cover this, and cover it like so. Then you top stitch on top. You're seeing. Now you push this edge inside also, and use your scissors like this. Then at this point, you can now top stitch on top the extension as a design, so that the thread, so that both up and down will look the same. So you top stitch like this. You go like this. See how beautiful the sleeve is. So I'll apply the same thing to this side also. So how to fix the sleeve? Now pick my top, pick your top like this, as if you're wearing it. place it like so for beginners, so that you will not be confused. Now look at my sleeve. This is the big side, you remember, so it's going to face this way. I see now. I see the way it is. This. When you put it on like this, you now see that the front armhole shape, this is the front, so this is the way it should be. If not, you make mistake, and if you make a mistake and fix this one at your, the armhole shape at the sleeve is going to be at the back, not in front. So you have to check all of this and calculate it well. So when you pick the first sleeve and it's rhyme, automatically the second sleeve is going to rhyme, because it's only 2 sleeves that we have. So I'm going to pick it like this now. So I will just place the front like this. I'll pick it like so at the sleeve. This is the sleeve front armhole shape, so it's facing the front. I'll place it at the shoulder. I'm going to sew from the shoulder now. There's another method that you can close your shirt before fixing the sleeve. It will still be fine, but I want to use this method. Then I will turn it back to this side. At this point, I will turn it like this. The sleeve will be down while the shirt is up. So when you finish, you can now follow the shape of the sleeve now and connect it to the shirt. Right now I'm closing the shirt. So you check your upper round sleeve. You know it's 1 inch allowance that we added. So you check, make sure the armhole joining, the both of them are equal front and back. You can stretch your fabric a bit to make sure they are lined together and it's neat. Okay, so I'm using the 1 inch seam allowance that we added to the shirt, 1 inch seam allowance to close it. Even till down. If you have any excess at the down, you can trim it to make sure it's equal. Now at this down part, if you want a slit on your shirt, you can open it. Use 4 inches. You can use 5 inches. It depends the length of the shirt. But I don't want to have a slit here, so I will just close my shirt till down. Now automatically this second sleeve is going to rhyme with this one, so I will just fix it the same way. So when you finish closing your shirt, the first thing to do is to check the measurement. This is one side of the front. Now you place your tape from the bust like this. Are you see now? Just measure all round to get the perfect measurement. See what I have here now? This is 47 inches. My measurement was 45. So I added 3/4 of an inch one side, 3/4 of an inch one side, which I said you can use 1 inch, but I prefer 3/4 for But as for today that I'm making this dress, I find out that I've added ½ inch to my measurement. I just measured myself now. I've added ½ inch. My body is like that. Sometimes I add, sometimes I reduce. So because of that, I've added ½ inch to my measurement now, to this dress. With the button allowance and the measurements, I'm supposed to have like 46.5 inches, but I have 47 inches here, so I size it and it's okay for me. I also apply the same thing to the waist and to the hip. So you check the length of your shirt. Make sure you check the length of your shirt. So if it's okay, you can now hem the down. If you have a slit at the down, you aim it that way. But if there is no slit, you just hold it like this. You fold the first one and you fold the second one. You just run thread on top. This part is a little bit difficult. Now if you want to get this part perfectly, how to hem this down, what you can do is to use your iron like this. I see now. You use your iron. You can use your hemming gum to catch it first. Just fold one side first. Fold one time first like this, and catch it with your iron, with your hemming gum all through. Even if you don't use hemming gum, you can just iron it like that all through. When you finish that, you now fold it again the second time like this. That one now, even without hemming gum, you can do it. Just go to the machine and run thread the second time like that. So this is how you can get this down. Because of the curve, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to fold it neatly. Anyway, another way that you can hem the down of your shirt, you weave it. When you finish weaving it, you can just hem it one time like that. It's very, very easy. Are you seeing now? I'm going to mark my buttonhole. Because it's a female dress, so I will be marking it on the right. This is the right. The small collar, you mark one buttonhole like this. Are you seeing now? I'm using this chalk for you to see. So from the 1 inch collar, so from the small collar, you measure it down. You mark 3 inches. You can decide if the buttonhole is going to be straight or like this, but I want to use straight. So from the 3 inches you mark, and you measure again another 3 inches. You mark another one. It's better you use 3 inches for your buttonhole. You mark again 3 inches, and you mark again 3 inches. You keep marking until you check the down and see that what is remaining is okay for the opening at the down. So I have how many buttonhole now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 buttonhole. Now I will come to my sleeve. Now I'm going to mark my buttonhole here. This is the big side, the cufflink extension. If you want to use cufflink, just one buttonhole, and you mark the buttonhole this side and this side, so that you can insert the cufflink inside. But for this one, I'll be using a button, not cufflink. So because I want to use button, I would like to use 2 buttons on this extension. So I'm going to mark the first button here like this, and the second one this ending part. I see what I have here. So I want to use 2 buttons here, like this. So I will come to this other side also and mark 2 buttons, 2 buttonhole. I'm going to take it to a buttonhole machine and have my buttonhole fixed now. Now you will decide the kind of button to use before you do the buttonhole. So the people that will do it for you, if you don't have the machine, which I don't have, they will ask you what size of button are you using. You show them. So you carry your button along and you show them the size of button you're using. So they will look at the button and give you the buttonhole that will fit your button. And don't use a big button. This one is even big. If you want your shirt to balance when you button it, you don't want it to be open like this, you should use a small button. Those shirt button is always better, but I would like to use this design button. I think it's better for me. I would like to use this button. So I'm through with the buttonhole. See what I have now. See my buttonhole. The machine will give you a small hole, so you have to use your razor blade or your cutter to open it more according to the size of your button. When you open it small again, you check if the button will pass. If it did not pass, you open it again and check. This is okay. So I'm going to apply that same method to all the button holes, and I will hold the front shirt like this. Place this one on top, the one that will cover it. The buttonhole will be on top. Now at this point, you mark where you fix your button. You know, it was a 3/4 this way, 3/4 this way for the button to sit well. So that 3/4 now, when you place it, make sure the down part is equal. You can leave the upper part for now. So you place it on top through the buttonhole. Just use your chalk and mark inside like this. If you check now, the chalk is showing at the down part. You cover it also the way you want your shirt to lap. You cover it at this one and you mark. You cover it like that till the upper part. Are you seeing now? Then you mark your button. Now time to fix your button. Just pick your button, place it like so and fix it. Pick this one, place it like this and fix it. You pick it like that until you fix the whole button. The same thing you apply to the sleeve. So I'm going to fix the button and I will iron the finishing, the down part that I fold. Then I will size the shirt for us to see. Alright, see the shirt. This is the front. See the back. See how beautiful it is. Thank you so very much for watching. See you in my next